10, we're going to get a call in from Tommy Martins, NASCAR Truck Series driver, the number 44 Martins, Team Martins Chevrolet Silverado. And coming on air with him is Steve from Racing Underdogs, who does my show pretty much every week. And then at 7:30, we got Larry Johnson. He's a bull rider. He's a personal friend of mine. He's a Cowboy Coffee Chew bull rider. And you guys know I'm also affiliated with Cowboy Coffee Chew. And he's a good guy. He's got good stories. He's a poet. He's got a different take on life. And that's when I started this show. I work with people like that. And I pretty much gone full circle here in 2016. We pretty much had everybody from, old Howard Stern people to guys running for president of the United States. It's been a wild year. Next week is the last Hollering with Hammer show of 2016. The Christmas week, obviously, the week after that, I need the Friday off. I'm not going to be around that Friday. So we will be back January 6th, all new. We probably will be going a little longer in time. Got a lot of things going on with that. So, I'm looking forward to coming up on 2017, and it's going to be a really good year. So basically tonight we're gonna have them guest. At the end of the show, I have a email section on Twitter. If you guys remember on Twitter, I did a thing on Twitter for emails. I told people email me if you guys had any questions or, anything, maybe I could do with the show differently. And man, I got some emails. So they're completely uncensored too. So, after Larry Johnson goes off, tell the children to go away from the radio, from the app, from the iTunes, the iPads, or whatever you guys is listening on the computers. And I'm going to read off these emails. Now, next week will be the last show of 2016, and we have Matt Mills, NASCAR Craftsman truck driver of the 07 Chevy Silverado for Team SS Greenlight Racing, the Thompson Electric Incorporated machine. And we also have, thanks to Scott Sanders, former Major League Baseball player who I have on often and will be the first guest of the new year, Calvin Kohler, who's an author, a music producer, and basically a retired career soldier, is basically how he puts it. So it's gonna be a really good time. That'll be the last show of the year, and we're just pushing forward. 2016 was great. 2017 is going to bring big things. One thing I'm very excited to announce. Hollering with Hammer radio show on VictoryLaneRadio.com has joined forces with Championship City Auto Racing. It's two really good guys over there. It's a new team that's been formed, but they're not new guys. They've been in the racing scene for a couple of years now. They've won races. I think they've won a couple. I think Mike Belanger has won a track championship at Seacon. I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But Mike Belanger and Joe Gargaro Jr. will be on the show. I'm going to be on their car. My Hollering with Hammer logo is going to be on their car for 2017 in Waterford Speedboat in Connecticut. So it's very exciting for me. Very exciting for me to be able to do that. We have like a little media partnership. We've come together, so I can't wait for that. And we're going to be getting a lot of NASCAR truck guys on, some Xfinity drivers coming up in the new year. And, a couple more things real quick before we get going. I'd just like to say welcome home to my man Cody Collins out in Kentucky. Stay out this time, brother. Professional bull rider. He's a former guest of the Hollering with Hammer show. We always like having him on. He's a wild guy. He put a video up today on my Facebook page that he got out. So, stay out, man. Keep your head up. Do the right thing. And get on them bulls. Win some buckles. And you'll be on my show in 2017. And stay in touch. So with all that said, man, listen, the train ride over here was bananas. I pretty much watched the baby beach and see. So like in 10 months or 9 months or 10 months or whatever they say that is, the hippie and the emo chick that I saw conceive a baby, there'll be a baby in the world. Congratulations. You know? And there was a homeless man peeing in a Pepsi bottle. So, and he was having a real hard time. He was holding the Pepsi bottle with one hand, and he was holding the vodka bottle with the other hand. So I grabbed the vodka bottle for him so he could at least pee. So that was interesting. You know, gotta love Metro North. Yeah, we're here looking forward to 2017. Got a lot of things on my mind tonight. You guys could probably hear. Care Cowboy Coffee too. Signatures for Soldiers. Check them out on Facebook. Check them out on Instagram. Go check out VictoryLaneRadio.com. Victory Lane Radio on every social media. You can also go over and check out Hollering with Hammer on basically every social media. You know, I'm on everything pretty much. I just actually got a floor, have no clue how to work it, but it's there. So, you know, besides all that, 2017 is gonna be great, man. I'm looking forward to it. Eric LaFlesh, the head cheese behind the glass tonight, as always. And it's good to have him back there. So, once again, at about 7:10 tonight, we're going to have Tommy Joe Martins on the program. He's a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver. And along with him will be Steve from Racing Underdogs. We're actually going to take a quick music break while we wait for the guests. I'll be right back. Hollering with Hammer, we're back. Good peoples of the world. Yeah, so we're just waiting on Tommy Joe Martins. He'll be on in a couple of minutes. You know, he's a driver to number 44 over in the truck series. I like the trucks. You know, Hollering with Hammer, he's a fan of the trucks, man. The children love the trucks. I've always liked the trucks. The truck series is, you know, in my mind, one of the most competitive series in NASCAR. I mean, you got the new guys, the young kids. You got kids that are winning races. You know, you got the veterans, you got the older guys that are coming down that are still super competitive in winning races. And, you know, there's a lot of small market teams over there that can do stuff. You know, a small market team in the trucks can win a race. So that's why I like the truck series. And, you know, that's why I'm happy to have tonight Tommy Joe Martins and next week Matt Mills. He's going to be on the driver of the number 07 Chevy Silverado. And so joining us now on Hollering with Hammer on VictoryLaneRadio.com is Tommy Joe Martins, driver of the number 44 Chevy Silverado Gusset American Jeans. Number 44 for Team Martin Racing. How you doing tonight,
Steve
Tom?
from Underdogs.
Oh, Steve, how are you tonight?
Good, doing good. How are you doing?
Okay, and Tommy is on as well right now.
Okay, so tonight we're joined. Sorry for the technical difficulties there tonight, everybody. Tonight we're joined by Tommy Joe Martins, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver of the number 44, and Racing Underdogs. How you doing tonight, guys?
Hey, doing good, man.
How you doing?
This is it.
Oh, that's good. Tommy Joe Martins, it's great to have you on. We connected on Twitter in the past, and thanks to Steve from Racing Underdogs on Twitter, we were able to get this together. First of all, how you doing tonight? And how you looking forward to the 2017 season?
Hey, thanks for having me on. No, doing good tonight. Kind of enjoying the break of the off season here and trying to get things together for 2017. Still a lot up in the air, but working hard and trying to kind of wheel and deal as all the teams like ours do here during the next couple of months.
Yeah, now we got Steve from Racing Underdogs on Twitter online with us. And go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just want to get your take, Tommy Joe, on how you described your 2016 season. As for those who may not have been following along with your blogs.
Oh boy, like in one. Do I have like one word, or do I get to expound on this a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead and expand on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was up and down. Just kind of differing expectations throughout the year. I think I came into it with one set of expectations, and they were probably unrealistic. Small team, 4 guys, some equipment that we got from GMS Racing, who obviously had a great season, but it was year-old trucks, and running SV2 motors, which are a little down. And I think I had really unrealistic goals that would be a top 20, top 15 program consistently, and that just is not the case. We made some changes during the year that we thought would pick us up, and we had some results that were pretty good. In Michigan, we had a good shot at the top 10. Talladega had a good shot at the top 10. Had some other pretty solid runs in the top 15 and some other tracks. So, I mean, it wasn't just all bad, but just a lot of disappointment as well. A lot of crashes, whether they were my fault or somebody else's, which was very well documented. So just a lot of disappointment. A lot of struggles for my guys. They just did an awesome job. I told them at the end of it, keep their heads up, and I'm going to try to keep mine up. We have to try to keep it in mind that this was the first full season for our race team and for me. And so with that being said, I think there's a lot of potential there. Maybe we didn't get to show all of it this year. Some consistency and some DNFs left us a little further down in the points than we probably should have been, because I think we ran better than we wound up finishing in the points. So I think that's a little disappointing, but also there's some takeaways there that say, okay, if we get another crack at this, we know what we did well and maybe what we struggle with and how to improve.
Yeah, now you guys are all listening to the Hollering with Hammer show on VictoryLaneRadio.com. Tommy Joe Martins, before I throw it back to Steve, I just had one quick question for you. What made you choose the Truck Series at the beginning of 2016?
What made us go into the Truck Series?
Yeah.
Well, quite frankly, just the idea of being a little more competitive. You got to realize in the Xfinity Series, you have basically no shot at getting a top 15 without a whole lot of money or some really, really good equipment or some sort of connection somewhere. And Blake Cook and Ryan Sieg both had tremendous seasons as kind of underdog single car teams out there in the Xfinity Series. But both of them would tell you straight up that they spent the money on the equipment necessary to go run that well. That doesn't mean they weren't at a disadvantage to like Ralph Racing, but I mean, it takes a huge deal to try to run up there. Whereas I really think the Truck Series, with a smaller team and some solid equipment, you have a better shot at running consistently near, the top 15, top 20. And you look at, Ricky Benton Racing and Ryan Truex when they came out there with the 81. I mean, these aren't small budget teams, but they're smaller teams. And I think they're able to compete a little bit better. It's this idea that, there's not going to be any Cup affiliations as much in the Truck Series. Some of that is changing now. But it was that idea going into it that said, okay, we think this is a place we can be a little more competitive as a small team. And that's really what led to the decision.
Yeah, which of the 3 big series do you consider the best value as a team owner versus which one's better for a driver experience, or at least to gain the experience?
Right, and that's the struggle with this, man, is I think if I was going to make a decision completely based on the money and returns here, and just to kind of go off topic for a second here, but that's really what this comes down to, and maybe that's why I've been so vocal about it. I mean, when you ask guys like Lee Petty and, Ralph Earnhart back in the day, and then you said, okay, well, what's your main concern out here racing? They're going to say the money, period. That's what they were racing for. That's how they made money, was winning the prize money from winning races and stuff. So I think when I trace kind of back to that, the place I probably ought to be is the Xfinity Series. The payout there is a lot better than it is in the Truck Series, roughly $8,000 to $10,000 more per race if you're finishing in the top 30 in points. So that's it's a pretty big chunk. Whereas the Truck Series, basically all the expenses are roughly the same as the Xfinity Series. You're running basically the same motors. The bodies are going to cost the same to hang on there if you tear something up. Chassis are roughly going to cost the same to build. Tires are going to go through roughly the same amount of sets. So it's not really a whole heck of a lot of difference as far as that is concerned. And also, the Xfinity Series, everybody says, oh, the schedule's too long. Well, as a team owner, you're perfectly fine with the schedule being long because that's more opportunities that you have to get in a check. So now I get 33 checks compared to 23, which is nice. That's more income for a small team. But it also comes with some disadvantages, which is a much more crowded schedule. That 33 races, it's 33 checks, but it's also 33 times you got to get a car ready. So if you don't have a whole lot of cars, any problems that you might have really jump up on you quick. We learned that in the Truck Series this year. When we had problems during the back-to-backs and all that kind of stuff, that's when we really struggled the next week. When we had, a few weeks in between to kind of get ourselves back together, we usually showed up pretty well. So that's nice. You're able to have smaller crew in the Truck Series. In Xfinity, you would obviously need a lot more guys just because you're out there every week. Whereas in trucks, smaller guy, 3 or 4 or 5 guys, you can, it's not ideal, but they have a little more time. So that's a little more manageable there. So there's pros and cons. As a driver, I want to be in the Truck Series, and I've been vocal about that. I would love to have a career like a Johnny Sauter or a Matt Crafton or those kind of guys, or heck, a David Starr or, who's the guy that ran down there and he ran Mobile Speedway? What's his name? Ran the Truck Series for forever. Owned Mobile down there.
Oh,
okay.
I know you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm blanking out his name. But a career like that where I could be out there in the Truck Series for 6, 7, 8 years or something like that, that would be ideal for me. Even with a small team where we're running right around that 20th to 15th place type of deal and just enough money to, basically pay the bills and keep coming back. That would be a great situation for me. I'd enjoy that and trying to always, I guess I like being the underdog. I guess part of me just enjoys it, kind of going up against there. The thing is honestly, when you finish 25th and you're in our equipment, I would get mad at it because it's the competitive side of me. But really, realistically, that's probably where we ought to be finishing anyway.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't get mad about it. And really, it gives you an opportunity to say, okay, well, hey, maybe we're going to exceed expectations this week, and you really shouldn't be disappointed as often as I was. And I kind of learned that looking back in the mirror. But yeah, where should we be as a team? Probably the Xfinity Series. If you could tell me I could make every single race out there, without a doubt, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to be a lot more closer to breaking even on the prize money than I will be in the Truck Series. The Truck Series, you're going to be, but if you go out and try to race, and I think I've spoken out about this, when you try to race, you're opening yourself up to a lot of different problems. You need tires, you need a pit crew, you're risking damage to your car, and now that's going to take more money. All that takes more money. More miles on your motor that you're going to have to eventually freshen back up. So when you do that, now we're spending a lot more money. And then a full season of trucks, I can tell you, we basically were upside down about $300,000 to $400,000 this year, even as small as we were doing it. So it basically gives you an idea of just how far off the prize money idea there is. And I've said that, and I think a few other owners and stuff have kind of backed me up. It's to a point now where if you don't have a sponsor, there's no chance to break even at all. And that's basically in any series.
So with that being said, looking ahead to 2017, as you're trying to piece everything together and you're going through your spreadsheets, which I know you have a bunch of financials that you're going through on the off weeks, what are you looking for to make it like a full run? Are you looking for a full-time ride? Are you trying to scale it back to part-time like some of the other teams do? Or
No, I figured out that the best thing for Tommy Joe Martins is Martins Motorsports doing well. That's basically my only shot, because if I was to try to go to any other team, it's, they need money. So there's no, bones about it. Diamond Gusset has been awesome. They have supported us when we were really crummy back in the Xfinity Series in 2014. We were really crummy. And and it's kind of stuck with me ever since. So they're whether it's benefit or disdain, or one or the other. But David Hall has been great over there, and they're coming back next year. So we've got a little guaranteed money there. We've got a few other small sponsors that have been great. They're going to stick around, but it's just not enough money for a full-time deal. We're about probably a third of the way there. And so realistically, we've kind of opened the doors as to go, and okay, well, if we're able to secure more sponsorship, great, full-time for me, and that'll be awesome. But if not, then yeah, we're going to probably have to do a partnership or a trade out or something like that. I mean, the biggest thing here for me is keeping the doors open at Martin's Motorsports and continuing to have an opportunity to grow the team. Not just for me, but also, for everybody. It's our crew and our sponsors and everything like that. I know that if we can keep showing up and we keep digging at it, I think we've got an opportunity to grow. And that's going to be my best chance to succeed as a driver, is probably with our team, rather than expecting to get a big time ride.
Yeah, and once again, you guys are all listening to the Hollering with Hammer show on VictoryLaneRadio.com, and I really appreciate NASCAR Truck Series driver Tommy Joe Martins and Steve from Racing Underdogs coming on board tonight. Tommy, before I throw it back to Steve, I just had a quick question. You drive Chevy. Is Chevy what you're going to stay with? Do you plan on sticking with Chevy for the long run here?
I am a Chevy guy. I am a Chevrolet guy, without a doubt. First of all, Chevrolet has actually been really cool with us. They have kind of stepped out and said that we could maybe get some support from them on body and some aero stuff and, some wind tunnel stuff and all this. Even as small as we are, I think they like how we represented the brand and ourselves last year. So they've been great. So yeah, we're not planning on going anywhere. We're planning on sticking with Chevy. I worked out here in Las Vegas at Ron Fellows Performance Driving School. We're the official driving school of Corvette. So I work at a Chevy place. I drive a Chevy truck. I got a Chevy Silverado sitting in my driveway right now. We're Chevy all the way. I don't plan on going anywhere else.
So switching gears, because we're kind of up against the clock, but just pretend for now your name is Tommy Joe France. You're living it up in Daytona Beach, hanging out with famous wrestlers and Donald Trump, and he turns to you and asks you how you're going to make NASCAR great again. For all teams, what is your list of laundry items you want to take care of? Try to get the series where you think it should be.
Okay, this could be. This could be a thing that I answer for the next hour and a half here. But
okay, let's break it down for 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll try to cut it as best as I can here. The number one thing is you got to cut costs, and you got to basically increase the prize money. And I know that sounds like, well, that's really easy. Why aren't they doing that? And the thing is, I don't think NASCAR is opposed to doing that. I know I've been pretty vocal about it, but it's not like NASCAR sitting in the boardroom like, no way, we can't cut costs. We got to let them drive up. The thing that I want them to do is just stop letting the teams be the ones that are kind of jacking this thing up for everybody. Like, perfect example, and I'm not talking crap here, but like Hendrick Motorsports came out with this oil pan thing on the oil pan for the R07 motors and stuff like that. And it's worth about 8 horsepower. They started doing this kind of in the middle of the year. Well, now that's something that I got to go spend on my motors. And we checked into it, and it's going to basically be about $5,000 per motor that I got to dump into that. And that's like per motor, and we own 3 of them, so there's $15,000 right there in the off season. And you really didn't even, why was that even allowed? And that's the thing, is RCR came back and were like, yeah, we were fighting this. We didn't really see why we even needed this. Right, so that's kind of one team lobbying on a rules change. And so that's just kind of weird, and it's costing everybody money. And so it's like, as far as I'm concerned, unless it increases the fan experience, then why are we really doing it? If it's not making it safer or better for the teams and the fans can't really tell the difference, then what's the real point? I guess I just don't really see the need for a whole lot of innovation. I mean, I get we're always innovating here, but I guess that's my main problem with it. It's just, where does it stop? It's going to constantly be more money there. And the prize money's not going up, and that's the other problem. I just think if you could ever get racing back to a point where you got the prize money for a team that's managing things well and not overspending the budget, keeping things small and not tearing a lot of stuff up. If you could ever get it to where they're close to break even there in the top 3 series, because let's not beat around the bush here. I mean, the Truck Series is a top 3 national stock car series. It is the big leagues. It is not a joke.
Right.
It's not like Double A or something where it's not like that. It is a big league deal. So if you could just get it to where teams are breaking even, whether it be cost cuts with tires or motors, that's the two biggest ones right there. With bodies, where we went to a flange fit deal like ARCA, that could save money. There's a lot of different things there that we could probably do to cut costs. And if we were able to do something to, increase the prize money or the distribution of the prize money a little differently, whether you go to like a charter deal like Cup did, where if you're a charter team, you get X amount, and if you're not, then you get something else. There was some way to kind of structure that a little better, because I know for a fact if we could get around $25,000 race prize money, which is roughly what the Xfinity Series is getting, that would get us a lot closer to breaking even. And that would put the power back in the owner's hands, where now you would have owners not tied to sponsors and not tied to drivers or anything like that. They would just go out and put who they thought was the best driver in the car and then kind of let the chips fall where they may. And I think that's just better for stock car racing, and I think that's just better for racing in general.
Awesome. And one last question. Would you ever consider taking whatever you have left in your piggy bank, which I know after his last season isn't much, and trying to get a ride in the Cup Series, just renting out a ride for a race or anything like that?
Man, that's something, it's like a bucket list thing, right? You always wanted to drive in the Cup Series. But honestly, my expectations and my trajectory for my career, I'm 30. I just turned 30. This is 2 days ago? I turned 30.
Yeah.
And I don't, I think a guy like Dylan Lufton probably has a better chance at making it Cup. Being younger and already been up there. I just don't have a lot of expectations for that. I think Matt Crafton has run a few Cup races. If I could do that, I'd like to run the Daytona 500 once. That'd be cool. I'd like to run the Southern 500 once. That'd be awesome. I have some things like that, but I really don't have any sort of plan for, making it to Cup or trying to wheel and deal for, a couple of races or something. I would much rather run a full season down in the Truck Series for roughly the same amount of money that I would wind up going and spending in 3 or 4 Cup races for a back marker team. And that's, just to me, it seems like I would get way more out of it. And I think my career would be better. And I think it would just kind of be better for everybody.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you guys are listening to the Hollering with Hammer Show on VictoryLaneRadio.com, VictoryLaneRadio.com. Tommy Joe Martins and Steve from Racing Underdogs. If either of you guys would like to promote anything, we're up against the clock here. Tommy, I really appreciate you coming on tonight. It was great. You took the time out to call in. If you guys got anything you'd like to promote, go right ahead.
Absolutely. Holiday season, you guys need to go to gusset.com and buy some jeans. You need to go to bootdaddy.com and buy some boots or some clothes. Sponsors for small teams like ours are so important. And there have been 2 companies that have been extremely supportive of me. So if you want to support me, support them, especially during the holiday shopping season. And thank you guys for having me on. It was a lot of fun. Always enjoy talking racing. I'm willing to do it anytime with anybody.
You can just follow me at Racing Underdogs on Twitter, and trying to piece together a website bit by bit, and maybe by the time Daytona 500 rolls around, we'll have it up and running. So thanks for your time, Tommy Joe.
Absolutely.
All right.
Good talking to you guys.
Yeah, Tommy, thank you very much for coming on. Steve, if you'd like to stay on for a minute, next week, Steve, me and you are going to have on Matt Mills from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He drives for the 07 Chevy Silverado, Thompson Electric, Team SS Greenlight Racing. Anything you'd like to say about that? That should be a pretty good interview. A young kid.
It'd be a similar conversation, but a little different. I think where Tommy Joe is relatively new on the major touring series. He's a little bit older. Matt is cut his teeth for a long time on some of the lower levels of racing, and now trying to make his way up. He has a really good opportunity at the 07 towards the end of last year, and it'd be real interesting to see how he thought his few races went with the 07 and where he thinks it's going for the future. So should be a really good conversation.
Yeah, what do you say about Tommy Joe Martins? He's got his opinions. His blog kind of made headlines last year. He's got his opinions. He's a good dude. He's a good guy, and I like that fire about staying in the Truck Series. You know, I like that how he said, you know, if I can get the cup and run a couple races, that's cool. But I'd like to do 8 seasons down here in trucks, you know. I like that. You know, you don't hear that too much. What's your opinion on that?
No, he's extremely realistic with what's probably best for his trajectory at his age. Unfortunately, if you're not born after about 1994 now, and you didn't start racing by the age of 6, you're kind of behind the 8 ball. And so the fact that he's able to kind of get his footing into the truck series and just has those goals to stay there, you know, it's admirable. It used to be a series full of veterans, and now it's not so much. We have a caution clock for for younger drivers. So, you know, it's definitely refreshing to have someone who's that honest with his career and can face the fact that maybe not the most desirable to move on up the chain necessarily. So,
yeah, I was looking at information today on Matt Mills, and you know, I see he was born in '96, and I was just laughing. You know, 20 years old from '96. You know, me, and I'm relatively a young guy, and I'm a dinosaur compared to that. So it was just funny when I was reading his bio and stuff like that. Well, Steve, it was great having you on tonight, man. I look forward to you coming on next week on a Hollering show. And I look forward to having you on in 2017, man, every week if possible.
Yes, definitely. So you have yourself a good week. I'll catch you guys later.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, that's Steve from Racing Underdogs. Check him out on Twitter. Check him out. He's on Instagram. He's on Facebook. He's on Twitter. You just type in Racing Underdogs and you'll find him. So, and you can head over to my page if you need to. I tag him in pretty much everything. So, you know, he's got good stuff. But Tommy Joe Martins, he's got a lot of opinions, and I like that. He had a blog. He caught, you know, some headlines last year from his stuff on the blog, and I hope to have him on again next season in 2017. So, yeah, we got Larry Johnson coming on. He's going to spend a few minutes with us tonight. He's a former professional bull rider and you know, a country guy, lives in Kentucky, personal friend of mine. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, you know, then you're going to want the children's to walk away from the radio because I got the emails, man. People went hard on me in the emails. I asked everybody to send me emails, man. Tell me if you like my show. If you don't like my show, ask me questions. And, man, I got them. So with all that said, man, the legend, the Kentucky legend right here, former bull rider, Cowboy Coffee Chew bull rider, and, you know, just an all-around good guy, former truck driver himself. Larry Johnson joins the program. Larry, how you doing tonight, sir?
Man, I tell you, Mr. Hammer, doing a whole lot better than I ever deserved anyhow. How about y'all?
Doing good out here. You know, me and you talk a lot, and you know, we've both ridden bulls, and you know, we've both driven trucks, and you know, we live in two different areas of, you know, I mean, basically, it's 2 different worlds if you were to sit down and really break it down. And we're so similar. You know, we were raised completely different, and we're so similar, basically in every which way. If you just want to, you know, briefly go in and let everybody who's listening, all the people out in, you know, Hollering with Hammer and VictoryLaneRadio.com world, just let them know, you know, briefly a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. You know, it's one of those deals where come out of a little town, the greatest little city in the whole wide world, as far as I'm concerned, Eli, Kentucky. And, you know, we come out of a very poverty-stricken area to where, you know, there's not a lot of opportunities and things like that. You kind of make your way, so to speak. And, you know, the rodeo life was something that was fairly unheard of from where we were from, but, you know, it was this passion to get into and to try to achieve and things of that nature. And, you know, growing up in the hills and hollers in Kentucky and things of that nature. And, you know, we've had an extremely blessed opportunity down here to actually get to live in this life as far as do the traveling. And, you know, as soon as I hit 18, man, we were all over the country 21, all over the country doing this, you know. And, man, it's, other than just having a really good opportunity, getting into the rodeo circuit, doing the mom and pop fair things and keeping chins down, necks up, and holding on for 8 seconds, so to speak. And, you know, we've lived the life of a dream to actually get to accomplish the things we had. And, man, I'm blessed to blessed that I've had the opportunities that I've had to come in through, as far as within rodeos and within the truck driving and some new businesses and things like that that's come up and things like that. And I absolutely just enjoyed this life that I was given.
Yeah, now you are a few years younger than me, but not too many years younger than me, and we've been in a lot of the same areas. Surprisingly, I was out west, lived out west, and stuff like that. And just like the stories when I've had Friday Wright on, professional bull rider who still does it the way that we used to do it. The kids today and the guys today, they don't do it the way we did it. That's kind of a lost art. So what are you up to these days? Like what are you doing now that the rodeo life has kind of, it's kind of gone by? Or what are you up to now?
Man, we've just started a new gate distribution outfit over here called Reckless Behavior. And basically what we're doing now, because the rodeo life, it's just like you may mention, we don't have that opportunity to stay as young as we did and man, to come up off the ground like we did. And I've seen new ventures coming from old life, thinking, I want to pursue this and actually get into, something where we can keep in the agricultural side, keep in the rodeo side, and, kind of like get to live the dream, but not be the one on the ground no more, so to speak, as far as, we distribute gates 48 states where we can take them, and still getting to visit with those same cowboys and things like that, and cowboys we've always got to socialize with, and still getting to stay in the genre and still getting to live the life through somebody else's point of view, watching some really incredible younger ones come up through the ranks now and kind of get to sit back and say, that was me, but now it's these young men and women's time to shine into our side. And man, just enjoying the fact that we got to make it this far. We, like you may mention, the life that we've lived and got to come up and make it into this certain situation where we can come through and say, okay, let's get into some new adventures. Let's try some new things. Let's, especially for us down here, there's always a life-giving dream, starting a new business and things like that. And something where I could stay in the same genre that we come out of, man, it was kind of like a dream come true for us. As far as coming the gates and things.
Right. Now, have you noticed 99% of retired bull riders are truck drivers?
Yes, sir, I have actually.
What do you think that is? Like, what do you think that whole deal is? Like, what is the connection in your mind? I know what it is in my mind, but what is it to you that 99% of us, or anybody who's ever done anything rodeo, becomes a truck driver?
We've got that travel in our blood. You can remember back when we was younger, it was from one town to the next, and coming from rodeo, and we've got that out west spirit, what I like to call it. We've never called a destination home, but this country's our home, from the Bronx and from Queens all the way out to Seattle down into the Gallows of Texas. I mean, that is our home, and we can never fully just let go of that life, our freedom, just to travel and just to experience, get to go, because it's always that next town. That was the thing about riding; it was always the next town. If you got the thing about it, it's never about the buckles, never about the money, things like that. But man, about that opportunity you had, because you knew when you hit ground, you weren't worried about what the score was in. You were worried about the next ride, and I think that's a whole lot of it that stays in with inside of us. It's that natural free spirit that we continue to have, that we just want to push it further. Let's see what's, we've seen this horizon, let's see what the next horizon's got to show us. Let's just move on just a little bit further, And the thing about it's off the truckers, I was privileged to have that opportunity for several years. And, the trucker, by all means, that is the last great American cowboy in our society today. That is the last great roundup for us. But, that is from the bull haulers out west to the steel haulers up north, from the fruit haulers down the south. Man, that's what it's built on. That's what it's all about. And that's why I think we've got that spirit. It stays within inside us, and I believe that's where it goes. And it pushes it just a little bit further,
Exactly. Now, just real fast, this is Hollering with Hammershaw on VictoryLaneRadio.com. I just got a couple quick random questions, and then you can get right back into it. Have you ever been outside of the United States, like other than Canada and Mexico? Have you ever gone anywhere other than Canada and Mexico outside of the United States?
That's about. I've spent a lot of time in Canada, spent a lot of time down in Mexico, but that is something that's on my list of things to do. I want to. Ireland is somewhere I've dearly wanted to see, and a few other places across the pond, so to speak. So it's not happened yet, but definitely it's on the list of things to do. Something we're really looking forward to.
All right, now when you put in a CD or your MP3 player, a little iPad, whatever you got for music, what's Larry Johnson listening to these days?
Man, honestly, my selection of music, you can ask my children, it scares them to death. And, from my music, I can listen to anything from the gospel to gangster rap to heavy metal. To this day, I've still not got that one thing. We're listening to bluegrass in the morning, and that afternoon we're rolling on the west side of Compton with our hats tilted, because that's just us. It's a driven thing. But I have to say, if I was going to give all of it, I would have to say probably I would spend more time probably in bluegrass than I do any of it. But by all means, I love I've got a kindred spirit for any kind of artist that's doing music and things like that. And music's a strange art, and to love it, you have to give it all. And by all means, you have to appreciate every form of art that there is when it comes to music. As far as what I think,
exactly.
Anyway.
I'm the same way. I go from Hank Williams Sr. to Tupac, and then Little Mobb Deep, and I go straight into the hard stuff. Metallica stuff like that. But beyond it, I go through all the music. Now, before we get into some more stuff, you recently had a lot of stuff going on in your life. You want to mention any of that, or is that something you don't want to talk about? I didn't discuss it with you.
Why ain't no thing? Recently engaged, things like that. Because I've it's something exciting, something new, and it's something I'm really looking forward to carrying on, and amazing individual. I'm blessed to have her in my life, and thank the Lord she got good eyesight. I probably wouldn't be, but a lot of stuff going on there. The business with the new marriage coming up and things like that, and it's. I've always believed if one door closes, another one comes open, or to that effect. And I tell you, here lately, the garage door's been coming up. I never lived that good, so I'm pretty sure I'm getting somebody else's blessings. But at the same time, man, I'm much obliged to have that opportunity. Life has really turned around, because I take a lot of it from the blessings that I hold right now. To look at my life in the last 3 or 4 year period and stuff like that, I found myself, and we made mention of the poems and things like that. I spent a lot of my time writing, and I look back at some of my previous writings. I look back at some of the poems, the Devil's Gallows or the Hellhounds, and some of these things that I've wrote. And I got to look at, man, where was you in life that when you wrote that piece, so to speak, how bleak things were at that particular point, and to flip it over now, man, you open your eyes and you got blessings upon blessings, and it's a totally new experience, and I'm grateful for every opportunity. It's every day I open my eyes, man, it's a new experience for me, and I can't begin to thank the people that's in my life and the things like that. Especially as far as like the business, we'll kick into it for just a minute if we can. Coming from where we do, and I hate to say it in this manner and this mannerism, but coming from where we do, and I see, and you see a lot up in your particular part of the world too. We were so stereotyped. We were stereotypical people as far as, okay, well, this is what you're going to amount to, or this what that you're going to amount to. And to be able to come out and do some of these things that people never gave you a chance to do, never give you an opportunity to come into, and halfway be successful and still remain humble, man, it's breathtaking for me. Especially coming from what we do, getting to do the things we've done, and the blessings bestowed upon us, man. Listen, I ain't got nothing but love for all of us. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. We got a few minutes left here. If you want to shoot on any topic you want, I'm going to get you back on 2017 kind of early on. We're going to get you in January, man. We're going to put some of that poetry out there because the people need to hear some of that stuff, man. And they can go over to my Facebook page. You post there frequently, and they can read your stuff. So
yes,
if you want to shoot on a topic for a couple minutes, man, go ahead if there's anything on your mind.
Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to give real quick. Before I get too much further ahead of myself, I was digging in my pocket. I hate to be rude. I was trying to find that the delicious Cowboy Coffee Chew. Much love to the individuals and the boys over there for making an outstanding product. I mean, something I love dearly, and just something letting me keep my lifestyle up without the some of the more harness effects of what the tobacco did. So much love for them gentlemen and the products that they make. I can't say enough good things about them. But that's my main thing.
Yeah, I've said it 100 times on this program. They've been behind me since day one. They were behind me long before I had a radio show. They're behind bull riders, and thanks to them,
Absolutely.
I get top bull riders on my show, and they are a great product. If you're trying to quit tobacco, that's
Absolutely.
what you need to try. It tastes like coffee because it is coffee. There ain't no chemicals. There ain't no additives. There ain't no nothing. You can check them out on Facebook. They're on Twitter, Instagram, Cowboy Coffee Chew Dip. Check out their website. They're
great product, and the website is second to none, man. Take time and get on that website and check them out. Like I said, somebody like myself that come from that life, that we was burning that tobacco up, and man, it's much love for the Cowboy Coffee Chew boys and the product, because man, they do make an outstanding product. We've got nothing but love for them. And man, I tell you what, if I could holler at one thing real quick, and this goes to anybody listening.
Real quick, that website is chewcoffeedip.com. Go ahead, Larry. Sorry to cut you off.
Ain't no problem. But anything is the way I look at it, and take it for what you want, because I've heard people say this my whole life. But if you're listening to that, and let me tell you something. If you're struggling with something and you're thinking that ain't nobody got you, I'm gonna tell you something. We got you. You come down to little old nowhere in the middle of Kentucky, but we ain't got nothing but love for you. We've seen too many people come out of situations and do good for themselves, and it's like us. Whether we're in the rodeo circuit or what we're in, we just push love. And we push prosperity for everyone that has that opportunity, because there be too many people that try to hold you down. They don't give you those opportunities. I'm telling you, it's not. If you're listening, man, stand up and get that opportunity. Be that opportunity. Be what you, because don't worry about what people say, because they're going to talk regardless. Let them do their thing. But, stand up and know that there's people like me that we love you. And we're wishing the best for each and every one of you. Come up and do something. And we, whether it be an up and coming rodeo, bull rider, up and coming barrel racer, anything that it is. I mean, if there's something that's on your mind, you think you can do it, listen. If they ain't standing behind you, that's all right. We are. We know you can do it. Don't worry about what they got to say to you. We okay with you. We know what you're going to be all right with.
Yeah, that's perfect. There's a kid out there right now in Kentucky, man, you got to reach out to, man. We discussed it off the air, so, we don't need to go into any further details on that. But, so it's Reckless Behavior.
Yes.
Reckless
Absolutely.
Behavior Gate Company? A
Reckless Behavior Distribution. You can check us out on Facebook. It's WRECK Behavior, or WRECKLESS Behavior. Man, we earned the name years ago on the back of them bulls. And I said when I was coming up with my company name, I said, for years I had this reckless behavior about myself. Ain't nothing more fitting to give the company name than something that stood behind it, something that built that company. I said, so we're going to call it this. And the thing about it, we're doing things up here. If you're into hobby farming, you're into big time farming, if you're into bull riding, whatever you need, we got it for you. We can take care of you. We can accommodate you. We'll get it to you. And, it's like I said, it's one thing about us. We come out of this world, we understand the products, we understand the need of the products, and that was the main thing. Anybody can say anything, but it's like we know what we're doing, because when we go home, that's what we do. When we go to cabin 8, and when we're looking at little old heads that come up off the farm, and we're checking the chickens, man, this is, like I said, this is our lifestyle. This is who we are, As far, and like I said, we try to accommodate anybody across the 48. If you need something of our services, if we can help you, just reach out to us. Anything we can do, we'll be more than obliged to quote you, take care of you, do whatever we can do for you.
Absolutely. Larry Johnson, you're talking tonight. I can't wait to have you on in 2017. And everything you said is right on, man. Everybody's got to help everybody, and we'll be a little bit better. Larry Johnson,
Absolutely.
Cowboy Coffee Chew, Reckless Behavior Distribution. You can check them out on Facebook. I didn't even know you had a page, so I'm going to link up to that and post that on my Facebook. Larry, thank you very much tonight.
Hey, it's been my pleasure. God bless y'all, and let me tell you something. We're hollering at you.
All right, that was Larry Johnson, former bull rider and just all-around good guy, poet. He does a little bit of everything out there. So So it's guys like that I want to put on my show. I've had some on in the past, and we've had them on different guys in the time I've been on, probably right and stuff like that. So we got about 10 minutes left, man. I got these emails. Now I had gone on Twitter, and it gets a little crazy, but I don't care. We're uncensored over here. Eric LaFlesh behind the glass tonight. VictoryLaneRadio.com. So I asked people on Twitter to email me. My email is holleringwithhammer@yahoo.com. Email me questions, suggestions. Tell me I'm a jerk off. Whatever you got to do, if you feel like wasting time in emailing me, just do it. So I got some questions. Some of these are inappropriate, so move the children. The first question I got was kind of a majority thing, and so I'm just going to read one of them, and it's, can you please stop with the MMA? So I'm going to answer that one. No. And you didn't put a name, and I'm not reading your guys' email names over the radio. So, yeah, no, I'm not going to stop with MMA, guys. I think MMA is cool. I prefer boxing, but MMA took over, and that's just the way it is. So, no, definitely not going to stop the MMA. Another one. This one. That racing underdog guy puts me to sleep. Well, listen, that's your opinion. I like Steve from Racing Underdogs. That's my NASCAR guy, man. I was rocking with Steve on Twitter long before the Hollering with Hammer show was on VictoryLaneRadio.com, and I'm going to continue to rock with him. He's with me. So if he puts you to sleep, go to sleep. That's all. That's fine with me. I got another email, and this guy leaves his name as John. It says, what the fuck does EST mean on all your posts, maggot? Okay, EST is Eastern Standard Time, you jerk off. I mean, how many people don't know that? What does EST mean? I got another one. Hey, you desgraciata, be honest. Have you ever done gay stuff? Okay, I will be honest about that. I'm going to answer this one. Okay, no, I've never done gay stuff, but I'm cool with the LGBYT, whatever they're called now. I'm cool with them. No problem. My first sexual thing in my head when I was a kid, I picked up a magazine on the corner, and it was two women with their shirts off kissing each other. So lesbians is the first image of any kind of that type of sexual shit in my head when I was a kid. So no, but no, I've never done gay stuff. No, and I actually got 8 questions about that in my email. Here's one I got. Who gets a hand tattoo and wears a brown Yankee hat in 2016? You're a piece of shit. You're gross, and I hate your guts. I'm a big fan and listen every Friday night. The Jersey General. Listen, I'm glad you like it. I will rock a brown Yankees hat. I will rock there's no Irish in me. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of the Irish. I rock the green Irish around St. Patrick's Day. The green Yankee. I probably have every color there is of a Yankee hat. And a hand tattoo, I have hand tattoos in 2016. Okay, that's a radio microphone and a radio. I don't, whatever. I don't care about tattoos. Hey, Hammer, listen, since you're an admitted degenerate gambler, can you give me the heads up on Wyoming and BYU? Do you think Wyoming has a chance? Yes, I do. I do think Wyoming has a chance. If it's a heads up bet, like your email states, yes, I like Wyoming. Dude, Bowles came over there and he took it down over there, man. Everybody think, he over in Division II school, he gonna come over here and do garbage. No, he put a 3-year plan together, and that's paying off for you. So, I am a diehard Wyoming fan, but I'm also a BYU fan on the low. I got the app on my phone. They don't pay me to say that, but they got an app, and I got it on my phone. I watch all their games. I watch their volleyball. I watch their baseball. Whatever they got, I watch it. On the low, I'm a BYU fan. No, I'm not a Mormon or nothing. But yeah, I definitely say Wyoming has a chance there, You think you're big time. Remember all the people that had your back. Okay. I've read that a few times, and it says at the end, it says your brother's in Sea Caucus. So I think I know exactly who that's coming from. Yeah, I'm not hitting no big time. And as far as the people who've had my back, I've had everybody else's back my entire life, more than people have had my back. I've had a few knives put in my back. But Sea Caucus, stand up. I'm riding with you guys all the time. And I got a lot of questions about my accent, stuff, your accent sounds stupid. And, there was one girl, actually, she wrote, you're pretty hot, but when you open your mouth, your accent ruins everything. Yeah, I know. And, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. There's a lot of sexual questions. I'm not going to get too far into them. But like this one here, it says, when a woman is giving you a favor, do you prefer her to spit or swallow? Well, I've answered that on the show before. Okay, everybody's different, but I prefer the girl to spit. But that's me. I mean, whatever. But I've answered that on this show before. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do this every couple of months. I'll do this. I'll put up on Twitter. Get your questions. There's a lot of gay stuff, so there's no point of asking that. No, there's no point of asking a lot of these questions if you get tonight, because I'm just not going to answer them no more if I've already answered them. No, I've never done gay stuff. Yes, I'm going to continue to wear a brown New York Yankees hat. That's just the way I rock. I'll wear any color, So, that's just the way it is. And Patrick Lewis got a lot to say out there tonight. Patrick, what up, buddy? You got a lot to say, man. I've never done gay stuff, but I don't know. You're asking me a lot of questions about gay stuff, my man. Not sure what you're up to. But yeah, brother, I'll check you after the show. This is the Hollering with Hammer Show on VictoryLaneRadio.com. We'll get the email section going in the future. I'll put it up on Twitter every once in a while. It's just funny kind of what people think, what people have in their mind. Like, I like to think, like, what is somebody going to waste their time with sending an email to me about? And that's what I got, And a lot of these emails were complex and, all types of stuff. I mean, people sent me pictures and, people put things into it. Yes, Patrick Lewis, Caleb Hooks is gay. I agree with you. Next week, Matt Mills, the 07 Chevy Silverado Thompson Electric, Team SS Greenlight Racing. Matt Mills will be on the program with the Racing Underdogs. And also Calvin Kohler, that's Scott Sanders' buddy, man. Scott Sanders rocking with the Hollering with the Hammer Show. He's going to be on in 2017. Kevin Kohler's a music producer and an author. And he was a career military guy. He's a retired soldier, is basically how he puts it. So yeah, and there's been a lot of people. I always kind of shout out somebody at the end of the show, people that help me out. I give them a little plug or whatever. And tonight, man, I would just like to, a guy gave me a hand recently. I'd just like to give a website out, excellenceinAutoglass.com, service in Fairfield and Westchester County. Everybody out there, 2017 is going to be slamming. All right. I got all types of stuff going on, and Championship City Auto Racing is on board. My logos are going to be on their cars, and it's going to be fun, man. I'm looking forward. VictoryLaneRadio.com. It's going to be awesome. We got a lot of stuff lined up. Signatures for Soldiers, man. Check them out. They need your help over there. They're trying to do big things for the soldiers, man, for the vets. So, check them out on Facebook and Twitter. Man, I'm pretty much tapped out. Everybody out there, thank you for listening. We will be on next week, and then we're off for 2 weeks, and we'll be back with the new show January 6th. Tonight, people, I'm just going to stand up. This is Hollering with Hammer Show, VictoryLaneRadio.com. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to kick the door open. Then I'm going to smash the mic.
Joining us for this edition of Bump and Run. Check us out next Monday at 7 p.m. on the Victory Lane Radio Network. Couldn't hear the show live and want to hear it again? Tell your friends you can hear it all on victorylaneradio.com.
HDRadioNetwork.com.